I thought tell you about I made my project, Georgie Wood, the Black Engine and Friends. When I was in some small number age, I was in Tanner with my mother, sister, my grandparents. We met this fine little black narrow gauge engine named Georgie Wood. He had a tall, thin funnel, and he does the tourist work, taking one coach. Pop, me and the driver can all fit in his cab. Georgie Wood was built in 1924 in the UK and was brought from a mining company. He does the work for the years to come, the 20s and 40s, 20s, 30s and 40s and 50s and the 60s. But when they were around the 60s, the line was starting to grow, not very big, very little. Some time ago, Georgie had a crash and his sister, Mary Ward, had to rescue him. When he was being mended, some of her parts were taken off, and she's remaining a scrap wreck, which is today. Georgie Wood lived on by himself and was doing one work, which is the mine. In 1964, the Mount Farrell line was closed and he was taken to a museum. The 70s came and the 80s came. In 1981 or 82 came. Graham Hall started this railway traction, and Georgie was brought and was painted black and restored. He has done the work for many years, the little black engine. Anyway, let's get back to today's 2000s. In the 2000s, like 2011, 2010 or 11 and 12, Georgie broke down and he was taken to pieces to have a new boiler piece and a new funnel called a spark catcher. One of these tubes with balls at the top and hose too. My mother visited town, and Edna told her about her friend. The engine was in pieces, and she told me he was in pieces, and she brought a DVD. I said, "Oh dear, it's very sad. I think I shall help with some supporting." So I started giving them some letters the people of the wee Georgia Woods Society. Graham Hawes and Doreen Smith gave me some letters, and they told me about when wee Georgia Wood was out of service for a while, and some years later, my mother had a talk with some of the workmen on the phone, and they said to her that they've been getting some letters from me, which was encouraging them to move on with getting Georgia mended. When the border peace arrived, they were putting him in one piece again, and after that they had to paint him. Now in 2013 he's been restored and is ready for us to visit, because they were inviting us to visit Teller for this welcome back party. I brought the 1999 digital 8 camera, certainly brand, with us, so that I could make a film called Welcome Back with Georgia Wood. I wrote in this cabin. Doreen just said to me that I had to put my hand on the pole on the cab, and I was told not to touch anything because everything was hot. She took my camera bag and gave it to my mother, and we went along to the other side of the tourist line and just crossed some closed down junction where the line was cut off. It goes to the Emu Bay Railway. It used to go there, but it doesn't anymore these days. There was another booth on the other side of the line where I was waving the God's flag. That's some great memory to remember. And I filmed Graham Hawes doing his speech. And then the other day when we were getting my Sunday Tasmanian paper, I filmed wee Georgia Wood getting himself ready for the day when things were quiet. It's good to see my engine fending steam again. Now, as the years go by since my visit to Teller, I began to have this idea, and that was when I decided to make a YouTube story about wee Georgia Wood. I've created wee Georgia Wood, the Black Engine and Friends Series 1 and uploaded them, just 11 episodes. And season 2 and 3 coming soon. Yeah. So that's how I made wee Georgia Wood, the Black Engine and Friends. My own model about my engine friend is made out of another Duncan chain, Band-Aid brand. All I had to do was give in 4 coats of grey and black paint to make him look like our engine friend. And my films were a great success. Yeah. There was an idea I have to put in the camera titles, like the website www.wegeorgieward.com.au. Everyone can book a ride on the engine. It's good to be a friend of me, Georgie Wood. And to make a true story about him. Nothing else to say. That's all I'm telling you before I make season 2 and 3 of the engine. Oh. But I've got something to tell you, which is interesting. I'll just point the camera over there. That's my new typewriter, another plug one for ribbons. At first I thought it was a printer, but it isn't. It takes one of these. There's also something even interesting on this lovely new baby. It's got a small computer screen which is like a calculator. When you're typing, the words come up. And there's a different mechanism that works too. Well, that's all I'm telling you today. That was the new typewriter I told you. Let's get to season 2 and 3 of We Georgie Wood, the Black Engine and Friends. I've used these tracks for ever seen. Yeah, so if you find a Band-Aid Duncan chain that you want to turn him into some engine you want to make and make a story about it in any country you live in, buy him